Hey Juan, Daphne here. Thanks so much for sending in your essays, and I'm sorry you've had a rubbish week at work. Don't worry, it happens to us all. The most important thing is that you've carried on with the course, which is amazing, and you've shown a lot of hard work here. Well done. I'm really impressed. It just honestly to sit down to watch the videos to write an essay when you're really tired is fantastic. So keep on going. Really well done. You've done this essay, this letter, really, really well. Not picking up hardly any mistakes here. So my name, writing to you or writing this letter, you need to write to you, or I'm writing this letter as a response to the Examinations Committee inquiry regarding my absence from the maths exam held on the 22nd of July. I would go, since it's a formal letter and I would like to, it's more formal, submit this apology for the situation and the misunderstanding. As noted, comma, I was not able to present. Now, we don't present in an exam in English, we take an exam. So I was not able to take the exam. I'm afraid that it would be nice to find a fancy word, but there just isn't one. I was not able to, or we could have sit the exam. Okay, so we take or sit actually. Sit the exam because I was hospitalised for 2 weeks on the same date of the exam. Okay, you could also have 2 weeks uh, from that, or from the same date, because you're talking about a 2 week period, so you can't have 2 weeks on, but you can have 2 weeks from. Sorry, prepositions, tricky. The date of the exam. Tell me why. I broke my leg. I had malaria. Make up something super dramatic, but just it would kind of bring the letter alive a little bit. And I have only just. So I have present perfect here. Only just resumed my academic. Okay. All right. I just resumed last week, or have only just resumed my academic activities. I would prefer, if you don't mind, to put the present perfect in here, because then you're showing a variety of tenses, and you're using it here accurately, and the examiner's thinking, yeah, great, you know all your tenses. And not submitted the paperwork in order to ask for a new date. To sit or take, because the medical insurance has not released my medical history. Yes, all right, lots of present perfects here. Well done, excellent. I would kindly ask you to give me an extension for an extra week to allow me to complete, or allow for the completion of, would be quite good, all the documents required from the committee to demonstrate my health. Yes, or prove we could have. Or support my health condition. Also to schedule a new test according to university rules. Thank you for your support in this issue. A little comma there. Yours sincerely, perfect. Okay, really, really nice. Absolutely excellent. Good stuff. So the Olympics. I like this. You've argued it really well. You have a strong opinion throughout, and you are giving it to me all the way, which is great. So many people throughout the world have debated whether the Olympics is, I think you should put here, still a relevant event or not. Some people believe it's no longer influential, though personally I strongly disagree. This essay would argue that the Olympics does and will into the future, that's stronger, isn't it, hold its sporting and political importance. Okay, just more emphatic language there, and then you need to go into ing. Using examples from the Rio Olympics, and I'm putting here data from the selection committee lobby, data from the selection process maybe required to host the event. So if you're putting selection there, you don't need to put it in as a verb. I just think you need the word data, but it doesn't matter too much there. What you've done is not wrong. Firstly, there's plenty of evidence that the Olympics could help. Okay, yes, I mean, I think we said could help as a suggestion. I think actually we can change the tense there, because I think it's true. Frequently helps. Just go present tense in changing the image of a city. And okay, rather than help, let's go upgrading its development. Now you've got development there, and you've also got development there. So you might have, or we could repeat here, it's infrastructure you could have, and then you could have development there, something like that. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, a city that hosts the games. Yes, is exposed to, let's go passive, it's exposed to an enormous amount of media. Okay, is this a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. Tell me, so just give me a little bit more. Tell me why. Which puts it on the map, which introduces lots of people to and countries they may not have heard of before. Secondly, the infrastructure investment needed. Okay, we've got infrastructure. Okay, go construction here. Go infrastructure there and construction there. Needed to host the competition. Can usually help in improving citizens' lives. Okay. Domestic citizens. You need to specify which citizens you mean. Citizens' lives. You don't need that because it's not an apostrophe with, it's not belonging to anyone, it's just a plural. For instance, Rio de Janeiro became one of the most popular destinations for tourists around the world. Okay, for global tourists after hosting the 2016 Olympics because the city was positioned itself, maybe it was able to become, it's not quite academic enough, positioned itself as trendy. Okay, trendy is a kind of informal word, but if you put trendy and fashionable, that upgrades it, okay? And then you can leave trendy in there. Due to the enormous investment in publicity and the rebuilding of its infrastructure. Yeah. Therefore, it's clear that the Olympics can still positively change the fate of a city, yes, by helping in its urban renewal. That's a good one. Do you want to mention sporting facilities, which are good for the future? If you're building a huge stadium, that's amazing, isn't it? Everyone can use it after the games. So you've talked about infrastructure, but just tell me what you're building. In London, they built new train lines and stuff, which was obviously very good. Another important argument that demonstrates the relevance of the Olympics is the magnitude of diplomatic work a country has to do in order to win the bid. Okay, it's a bid, isn't it? In order to win the bid to host the games. This is largely because countries still recognise the opportunity to organise the sporting event as a privilege, absolutely, that demonstrates their high economic and political status and development. Well, consistent with this argument, hey, I really like that. That is fab. Great language there. That's a real yes. Okay. Consistent with this argument is that it has been publicly acknowledged that Brazil made great social and humanitarian commitments with the IOC in order to be allowed to host the Rio Olympics. Host or hold. Thus it is possible to state beyond doubt, thus needs a comma after it, that the Olympics are not only important in the sporting world, sports and athletic world, but also in the political and economic arena. Excellent paragraph, really, really good. Like that a lot. For me, arguments and examples given, comma. I firmly believe that the Olympics are even more important now than before. I agree, and it's predicted that in the future this event will increasingly grow in international influence. Juan, super. Really, really good essay. It is confident, it is ambitious. You have really pushed yourself here, and I really like it. Your argument is intelligent, it's easy to read. Really, really good stuff. I'm just suggesting a few little things to help maybe on the language, but otherwise, I think you've done a really, really good job here. Well done, you. Thank you.